you can send parcels as well. It's not about receiving only. So it's like having a mini post office in your building or your apartment ready for you.
So I'm here with Rushika Kumar, Head of Product and Out of Home at Australia Post. Welcome.
Thank you, Mike.
We're all on a mission here at apartments.com.au to make the apartment living better and helping consumers. One way we do that is by looking for new products and services available to developers that add value to the end consumer. And so Australia Post, you've got the Locker rollout underway at the moment. Would you mind sharing a bit about the program and how it works?
Yes. So lockers are actually not new to Australia. They have been around for a decade, but Australia Post is really trying to push very hard for establishing our locker footprint. And this is because of a few reasons. Firstly, if you look at the insights in the eCommerce report that came out a bit earlier, some of the numbers in there are pretty staggering and they tell a very powerful story. So 8 in 10 Australians actually shopped online last year, and a large part of that cohort was actually baby boomers, which traditionally wasn't seen as a cohort that would engage in very powerfully in that channel, but that story is different. Yeah. And really, I mean, when you think about online shopping behaviour and receiving parcels at home, parcel lockers are our answer to addressing some real needs around convenience and 24/7 access. I think that is something that has been resounding in feedback and what our customers tell us. To really have access to an option that is 24/7 convenient, and you can pick up your package whenever you feel like without sort of waiting in line or, having to rush to the post office the next day. And we really wanted to give our customers the choice to tap into various options to be able to receive their parcels. So instead of finding like a sorry we missed you card, or, your parcel goes straight to, an apartment lobby where it's potentially not safe and it's just kind of strewn on the front door with all the missed Uber Eats orders and whatnot. We think that parcel lockers are the most safe and secure and 24/7 self-service option in order to receive your parcels. And the feedback that we've received from customers is absolutely in support of that. So around 1.3 million customers actually registered for a parcel locker just in last year alone. So that's just showing us how much people actually value this service, which is great.
To me, it seems like they should be in every single building.
I think so. I agree, 100%.
We've got a lot of Gen Y, millennial type characters that work in our business, and I've even had people need to go on leave before because they need to be at home to make sure a parcel that might be an expensive thing is coming in, and that seems just ludicrous that would be the case.
That's right. Look, similar stories. I've seen people adjust childcare pickup times and drop-offs and, going to work and taking meetings from the car and doing things like that just because they don't want to miss that important delivery. And I think we have a lot of data points and a lot of examples around us where we can actually step in and make people's lives easier and be closer to where they live and work.
Yeah, totally. And so you mentioned you've been rolling out the kind of program. I have walked past buildings, unfortunately apartment buildings, and seen the piles of parcels. How far through the rollout are you and how much of the market's adopted the product?
Yeah, so we have, as I mentioned recently, really doubled down on rolling this footprint out very extensively. And the rollout, I must say, so far has been very successful. So we've got hundreds of parcel lockers nationwide, so I'm not surprised you've probably walked past one. And they are a collection and a variety of locations such as, supermarkets, petrol stations, shopping strips, and also post offices, of course. But the aim here is that with adoption growing, and we've seen double-digit growth in terms of adoption last year, but with that sort of growth, we see them popping about everywhere, and there will be much more emphasis laid on making sure that it's in convenient locations where people actually find it easy to use them. Yeah,
I mean, at apartments.com, all we're focused on is the new sector, and we're here to talk to developers. And I know the question that every developer is going to be thinking is, how much do parcel lockers cost?
They are free.
Wow.
So that you can't actually argue with that. I'm sure that's music to the ears of developers and everyone else who's involved. But if I was a developer, it's really simple. This is a high-value amenity and an asset that you're investing in, and at no cost to you. So Australia Post supplies and installs these boxes for you. We take care of the whole process from beginning to end, and we also continue to maintain and service them. So there's literally no cost involved to developers. So you're essentially sort of adding a very popular feature to your establishment, and I'm sure with increasingly lifestyle sort of spaces being designed by developers where it's not just about like 4 walls and a bedroom. It's about how do you travel from your car to your house? How do you interact with nature, and how do we bring nature into apartments and so on and so forth? And I'm sure all the architects out there listening will also be very interested in how living spaces and experiences are designed. But this is the best way to increase appeal of your project, especially when it comes to deliveries and people having to engage in other unsuitable options.
Yeah, totally. And look, I guess the other question that people are going to have is often the best developers are very kind of design-led and very conscious of how it's going to look. So is it going to be a big bright red thing, and is there options, and how does that work?
I love that. I love the AusPost red. But yes, so to address that need for choice, and I think to give developers that flexibility that, you know, hey, if your establishment is kind of all modern art deco, kind of Scandinavian, Japanese kind of look, we want to be able to offer options both in terms of colour palette and how they are installed as well. So we want to definitely offer a very, very diverse sort of setting and look and feel, so it matches with the rest of your lobby or whatever your front of house is designed to be. So that's for sure.
So for developers that are considering it, the Parcel Lockers it doesn't cost the developer anything. They can customize the colors so it can kind of match the interior design and the aesthetic of the project. And it's effectively a free amenity that keeps the lobbies tidy.
That's right. So there's, like I said, you say it really well, and there's really no arguing with that. I think the lobby is such an important part of the experience for a developer, and with the growing number of online shoppers that we just spoke about, if you were to have a really modern looking lobby strewn with parcels, that's not the best experience. And I think offering like a built-in parcel solution, where, especially when you're at like blueprint stage or considering the space for install, even when you're at that stage, really make sure that you think about the surrounds and think about how people interact with the Parcel Locker at that very important stage so you can plan around it. And I think those buyers and sort of tenants that appreciate flexibility and are really looking to, you know, not rush home and not worry about whether they've missed deliveries and stuff, this is such a powerful proposition to make sure that you have a building that you're selling with 24/7 parcel pickup service included. That's a proposition.
Totally. And so for developers or architects that are listening, at what stage should they be engaging with Australia Post, and how does the process work?
Yeah, look, the earlier the better. So like I said, a blueprint stage is great. If, let's say, there are developers and architects out there who are progressed past that stage and they still have interest to install, the good news is that Parcel Lockers have a very small and concise footprint. So it's not something that takes a whole heap of space. We're just looking for a flat surface and, you know, access to standard power at most, and we can very nicely fit into sort of niches that might be available in your building. So blueprint ideal, but if that stage is passed, then we can pretty much slot in anywhere.
Okay, great. And then so obviously developers care a lot about that net sellable area, and I think engaging early with the architects and making sure that they can maximize or minimize the footprint to maximize the net sellable area. I think perhaps that's the way.
That's right. And keeping the foyer neat and tidy, making sure the appeal of what you've designed actually stays for years to come. And also like less workload for your building staff and your concierge service. I know like a lot of modern establishments either have not given any thought of like what the mailroom sort of functionality looks like, but then if they did have a concierge, the concierge often finds themselves becoming a mailman, and they essentially all they do all day is redirect parcels and chase up residents, and that's kind of their day job. So in order to actually shift the concierge to interacting with your customers and really engaging with them with those high value transactions where you need that high level of touch and customer service, you free up your concierge to actually concentrate on those things, and, you know, the Parcel Locker actually becomes a mailroom for you.
That's amazing. And tell me, what are consumers telling you, the people that have got the lockers installed?
The stats tell us that once people use a Parcel Locker, they become very sticky because, like I said, there is an experience that we've created that is hard to beat. So there is also the added advantage, let's not forget, where you can send parcels as well. It's not about receiving only. So it's like having a mini post office in your building or your apartment ready for you. And, you know, when you order that 15th pair of jeans and they don't fit and then you have to wait to go to the post office or what have you, and then you need to figure out your calendar and work out when you can do that and things like that. No longer, because you have the post office in your building, so you can actually use the locker to actually lodge parcels as well and send your returns and send that annoying pair of jeans away, as well as receive. So this is actually a very big advantage, especially for baby boomers, who we know actually a very big and large cohort that are interested in recent apartment sales, as well as young professionals. And both of them have been shown to not only invest in apartment dwellings, but also invest heavily in online shopping. So that's the intersection there, which is what we're looking at.
Awesome. And so, Rush, if developers and architects and things are listening, what's the best way to get in touch with AusPost about this?
That's a very good question, Mike. So I would suggest that if you search Host a Parcel Locker by Australia Post, it will take you to a webpage where you can actually click and fill a form, and our very, very enthusiastic team will get in touch with you, and they will organise everything for you in the process from start to finish. So you wouldn't have to do much other than provide access, so we can come and have a little bit of a look and figure out what the best spot is, access to power, all of that stuff, and we'll take it from there.
Love it. Well, anything that's kind of adding value to the apartment experience is something that we do like at apartments.com.au. So thanks for taking the time to share a bit about what you guys are up to.
Thanks for having me, Mike.